In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with a Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. And I'm as shocked as you are, quite frankly. If you've got an uncontrollable urge to play golf today, it's probably because, yes, you see a golf ball in front of you sat on a tee. I had a shave this morning, and I dispensed with the razor that I bought first with me to, I brought with me to Portugal 7 years ago, and I threw it out last week and bought a new razor. And my goodness, men's razors have come on quite a long way. Look, and I have a delightful assistant who's semi-naked here in the studio. Now, the best a man can get right here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Thank you, Mrs. M. It was like being in a Brute 33 or Lynx advert this morning. Fantastic. Yeah, Gillette, thank you very much. This morning's show sponsored by Gillette. They have come a long way. And one of the weirdest things about this new razor technology, because the razor I brought with me and hadn't changed for 7 years because I was only trimming. I wasn't doing a full face shave. And I will move on from this subject if you're trying to eat your breakfast. What I noticed this morning with this new technology razor is that it exudes a kind of gel. And I don't know where it's all coming from. The razor's only this big. And the first shave I tried with it, it was like creating this gel that was getting everywhere, all over my face. And that continued this morning. And I honestly don't know where it's coming from. It's very clever stuff. I think you just add water and then it suddenly issues forth this gel-like substance to lubricate one's face. I do think I'm in need of a bit of moisturization. I don't know what you think, Mrs. Evan. Is that a cut there that I didn't notice earlier on? No. Anyway, bit of moisture. See, it's a slippery slope, isn't it? I am becoming a metrosexual or something like that, whereby now I've started with a shave, and next thing I'll have a full-on moisturizing. Yes, I'll be drawing eyebrows on. I'll be having them threaded. I'll be doing goodness knows what. And at this point, you may have advice to share with me about such regimes. Right, Mrs. M.
I want to see what the comments are.
You want to see what the comments are? Okay. Beardless. Not the best nickname I've ever had. Oh, it's you, Carl. So smooth. And when I blush up, it's even more obvious.
Yeah, I like the best.
What do you like the best?
Get to see these.
What, the dimples?
That's what I fell in love with.
When I was on the production line and God said, I'm not sure about this one. Bom dia, Portugal from João Ernesto. It's a good look, Carl. Well, thank you for that. I'm bearing not my soul exactly, but my face. Oh, next step, removal of all body hair.
No.
Is that called manscaping, James? James resting today. What are you doing? What are you doing? She's undressing me. Mrs. M very excited about this new metrosexual. Yes, is the removal of all body hair. Please don't send me any pictures or guides. I beg you. It was one thing to have the mankini. And talking of which, there's no need. If you bought yourself a mankini, hoping to use it this year, no chance, is there? This weird weather continues. We'll have a look at that for the week. The lubricant comes from the little white strip at the top of the blade. Yeah, I realized that, John, but I can't believe how much they've managed to pack in there. It's like something developed by NASA or James Bond. I was thinking, yeah, okay, fair enough. This is going to subside soon, this gel lubricant coming out of the razor. But it just keeps coming, and I shall continue to report back. Morning, my friends. How are you doing, Owen? It looks like you've had a good time over the last few days. Lovely pictures. I'm seeing what a mate. How are you this morning? I trust you had a good few days and a great weekend. Do let me know. Oh, Doros, what you've been up to this weekend on 913 913. Hey, maybe it's like being Samson and cutting your hair. My memory went down the plug hole with all the bits of beard. 913. Let me see if I could do this. 590303. There you go. That's if you've got any pictures from your weekend. No manscaping metrosexual guides. Thank you very much on that number. Let's leave that to our imagination, or let's not leave that to our imagination. Let's put that behind us, and not go there. Bon dia alegria from T-Duck as well. Bon dia alegria, Gumpers from T-Duck. Good to see you here this morning. Lila Bugazi. Good morning, Portugal from Lila Bugazi. And I'm late. Where's Carl? Yes, the golf ball is here, teed up and ready for action. This morning, T-Duck. James, as I was saying, is resting today. We're in one of those strange five types of day months, if you see what I mean. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday are the 5th Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of July, which allows us to go off-piste. When I was trying to explain to James yesterday, from our usual routine, a schedule. Because in case you hadn't noticed, James is here every Monday for Mindful Migration. And most, if not all, of our other guests come in on the first Monday, second Monday, third Thursday, etc. And it provides quite a nice routine and schedule, I think, until we end up with a 5th Monday like today, a 5th Tuesday like tomorrow, or a 5th Wednesday like Wednesday, funnily enough, where we have the chance to do something a little bit different, which is what we're doing this morning, especially tomorrow and on Wednesday as well. So I'll give you a little bit of a heads up on all of that. We've got birthday greetings. We're going to have a look at the weather. We've got a all new Portugal quiz, thanks to Aviva. We may have somebody popping in from this company at 9:30, the Fresh Cut French Fries Factory, which is German food. Could you eat this right now? I think I actually could. German food with a Portuguese twist, a bratalhão, as Ian put it very wittily earlier on today. But that's the sort of thing you want to eat, isn't it, when you're coming back from the boozer? Although I think I could eat that right now. So we'll have somebody from the company, I think. However, when I asked them yesterday if they could tell me what their name was and what their maybe send me a headshot for promotional purposes, they disappeared. So we may have them at 9:30 with us talking about their French fry factory, which turns out to be a bit of a tongue twister, or we may not. We might just look at that picture again at around 9:30 this morning. So let me know how you're doing. Tudo bem? Como estás? Let me know in the chat if you will. I'm sinking down already in the screen. Let me just give that a little bit of a tweak there. There you go. That's better, isn't it? And yeah, let's have a look, see who's here this morning, and issue those birthday greetings. Tell you about, we'll unfold John and Pam's trip into Spain a little more. I've got all the pictures lined up and the lovely video, which is very relaxing and beautiful. A nice calm start to the week, which is what we hope for here. This is your cheerful start to the day, your cheerful introduction to Portugal. And on this day, your cheerful introduction to the week ahead, where you're letting me know how you're doing as well in the chat, if you will. How was your weekend? Let's go back to where we began this morning. James resting this morning on this 5th Monday. He'll be back next Monday. And if you want to see him, you can check out, of course, his Old Guy in Europe YouTube channel. Not yet after the show. Maybe do some back-to-back YouTubing. Make sure to subscribe to James's channel. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz segunda a todos. She says, como foi o vosso fin de semana? How did it go at the weekend for you? James is asking there. How's your Portuguese going, everyone else? Bom dia, Gumpers. E feliz segunda. Very good, Ian. Welcome to a new week, and I hope you had a fantastic weekend. We're heading back home today from a very sunny Clevedon, which is one of those beautiful Victorian seaside towns, not far from, perhaps not quite as beautiful, Weston-super-Mare. Weston-super-Mare has a somewhat strange reputation. My father spent some of his childhood there. I have some fond memories of it myself. My grandmother lived in Weston-super-Mare, or a village nearby. And it was where Banksy chose to create his, was it called Dismal Land? For some reason, he chose Weston-super-Mare for Dismal Land as the venue for his Dismal Land Disney-style visitor attraction, dear old Banksy. This is a beautiful part of the world, the West Country there, where the Wurzels come from. If you've not heard West Country music and you would like to get into the West Country and Western genre of the United Kingdom, check out the Wurzels, Wurzels. I would love to hear Combine Harvester right now, but I've got a show to do. Bon dia, James from Ian. And yes, German street food with a Portuguese twist. Very good, Ian. Bratalhau. Excellent. Let's go to your God Squad tip of the day, shall we? Continuing with the walking theme. You've inspired me, Coach. I'm going to get out more. I've noticed that with my two dogs, the little one, obviously, by virtue of her physiology and scale, can't keep up so much with Jimmy these days. So I'm going to start taking them for separate walks. Or certainly I'm going to add an extra walk, I think, with Jimmy from time to time and explore this beautiful coastline, I've been thinking, which I think you would approve of. And there are some nice slopes to get out of breath on, Coach Turner, and pump the cardio a little bit. So you've inspired me. Thank you very much for that. Continuing the walking theme, we looked at strengthening the calves last week to help improve how people walk. Let's take a look at how that works. As your foot goes under the hip, roughly the center of mass, it starts to push backwards. Just visualizing this in my mind's eye. If the calf is not strong, then all of the force will come from the upper leg and glutes. Oh, I see. It's interesting how the body adapts, isn't it? However, if the claves, I think by that he means calves, are developed enough, the foot will start to roll and push independently of the upper leg, and the stride length will increase. Now, I have mentioned this before. These shoes that I ordered online, Hobby Bear, I think they're called, with a very thin sole, I think have helped me with this. Now, I know some of you like to walk on the footwear equivalent of a marshmallow for extra comfort, but it might be useful, might it not, Coach Turner, to mix it up a bit, to wear a thin shoe sometimes to really check how you're walking and maybe mix it up a bit. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to get myself some proper walking boots for when I go up into the hills with Jimmy. So, yeah, any recommendations on that actually would be gratefully received. Something, I think you've got to have a bit of ankle support, haven't you, when you start rock hopping? So if you've got a recommendation on that, I'd be gratefully receiving that one. Yeah. So, however, if the calves are developed enough, the foot will start to roll and push independently of the upper leg, and the stride length will increase. And it's very interesting, isn't it? When you start to think how you're walking and you actually think about it, it then becomes harder to walk. But you do get an insight into the habits you've developed, and this is what the what are they, ergonomicists or podiatrists, or what are they called, biomechanical physiotype people can look at you and see the habits you've created. And I guess you can see that, can't you, as well, from the calluses on your feet, from where your shoes wear out. You get to see what your walking habits are. Fascinating, I think. If you consciously practice, continues Coach, if you consciously practice that, you'll begin to find walking easier and faster. Your calves will continue to develop more strength, and you're less likely to pick up an injury. Very good. And maybe when you're doing a bit of mindful meditation, a body scan, it's quite nice to go around the body and thank each and every individual part for the part it plays in your life. Maybe you can do that when you have your warm down, or when you're getting ready to go out for one of the walks that Coach is recommending to us this morning. Cheers, Coach, for that. Into a new week of God Squad Tips of the Day. Take the course, if you like. They're all gathered together at GMP VIP, and we'll be popping over to GMP VIP, aka the Portugal Club, as well this morning, because we've got a new Portugal quiz, and we're well over 400 comments on the Portuguese sayings of the day, and we'll have a look at Antonio F's latest contribution to that as well. Who is this doppelganger? It's definitely me, Tita. Ask me a question, and I'll see if I can prove that I am not an AI character, that whilst I'm actually out walking the dog, this is an AI character pretending to be Carl. A newish breed, the hairless man. Yeah, I suppose I'm going against hipster trends as well at the moment, aren't they? But it just seemed like a good idea, giving it a go, see what happens. The lubricating stuff wears off after only 2 shaves. Okay, so that's my lot, is it, today? It's more of a gimmick than something practical. Actually, John, I'd be happy to have a longer lasting, but not quite so prolific lubricant on my razor. It was actually getting in the way, but as you say, it wears off after a while. So Hopefully that won't be so tiresome in the coming days as I tire of shaving it every morning. That was, I think, the reason why I had a bit of a shadow beard thing going on, which must have started about, I don't know, what would it have been, 15 years ago that I first started having a beard face. And it continued. And I've only ever shaved really when I've had when the babies have been born, and I've wanted them not to have a scratchy dad face on them. So I've always shaved when the babies have been born, and then whenever I was escaping the authorities and jumping borders and that sort of thing, but never really gone to this on a long-term basis, which is what I'm going to try out now. Bon dia, Gumpers, from Michael Barton. Bon dia, Portugal, to you, Michael. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Cheers, mate. Massive thanks to T-Duck and Mrs. Duck for a fantastic few days. Love you both, from Owen. And bon dia, Gumpers, from Jackie. How are you doing this morning? Toss that mindful rubbish on the 5th Monday. Hooah!
Hooah!
Absence makes the fart go bongo. No, that was a joke we used to say at school. Absence makes the hearts grow fonder, I think, is the right way of expressing that particular sentiment. Leave them wanting more. The old showbiz maxim there, James. We'll be back with some mindful migration next Monday. Nice to have a change, though, isn't it? Nice to have a bit of a contrast, I think. Yeah. Beard, no beard, mindful migration, no mindful migration on this 5th Monday. And good to see you here, nonetheless, though. However, James, thank you for being here. How's it going with that channel of yours? Walking with Gus Daly says, Bob, morning to you, Bob and Viv, but I have observed that in a run, I have no stamina. When a fight breaks out, I'm walking the dog. Bob legs it, but has to stop. So today, I began running at the beginning when we both have speed ability. It's a start. Well done, Bob. Yeah, you were talking about stamina when you when we saw you last week. Interesting that. But those other 3 S's, are they not, Coach Turner of the God Squad? Bon Vivre program for gentle fitness, strength, stamina, and speed. Check it out, Bob. I'm sure you've got access to the GMP VIP. Have you gone through the program there? Bon dia todos from Juan. How are you this morning, Juan? And James is fallen. James, wake up! Paul Richards is here from a thunderstorm. Yeah, I thought I heard a little bit of a rumble in the sky last night here on the Silver Coast. Well, Carl, remember last time you became the new you? Are you giving up alcohol too? Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? All these different things. Actually, I might be easing up on the booze as well. I'm not going to give up completely, but me and Mrs. M. One thing I did notice that the beard was very good for covering up. It was a big chin, an extra chin. Like that, and perhaps doesn't help wearing a turtleneck, but I think the time has come to ease up on the booze. I'm thinking, what do you think of this? I'm thinking as well that I might have one main meal a day, and it's so weird to think that as I was growing up, and even in my 20s and 30s, I still was in the habit of having a massive breakfast wherever possible, a big lunch wherever possible, and certainly a huge evening meal. Now, that's not necessary. I've realized now that's not necessary. It's a cultural affectation. It's very enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. I love food and I like cooking. So it was never a problem. But I think as you get older and your metabolism can't, and if you're not doing very physical work, those 3 big meals a day are probably a little bit of a calorific, not a deficit, a calorific burden, if you like. So I think I might do that. And I think some of you might already do that as well. Is have one big meal a day. Let me know how that's going for you. And I'm thinking as well, so maybe ease up on the breakfast a little bit. The intermittent fasting, the early fast seems to work very well for people, it would seem. And it's a great country for drinking a shot of coffee, isn't it, to get you through the breakfast time. Portuguese people, it seems to me, don't have a big breakfast. They might have a bit of toast if they really need it, but it's mainly about the coffee first thing in the morning, isn't it? Maybe a little tart of some sort. But not so much the breakfast, more the lunch, the prato do dia, and and then an evening meal, quite possibly. So which do you think? A big lunch or a big evening meal? Another Portugal quiz. What is the average flying velocity of an unladen swallow? I shall just leave that hanging there. Now, for some reason, Oh yeah, thunderstorms. This may be. There's a couple of news stories as well that we might get round to. I don't know. We might not. What's triggered in my mind when you're talking of thunder there is Madeira Airport's wind monitoring. And if ever I see the phrase wind monitoring in a news story, I giggle to myself. And I imagine, who wrote this one? This is in the Portugal news, Madeira Airport's wind monitoring. Is this to stop the crop dusting type of tourist and passenger who walks through the terminal? Is it that kind of wind monitoring? Or is it? It's probably crosswinds. But if I were the journalist at the Portugal News and I was able to write a little break from the scandal and the sensation, and was able every now and then to let go of a headline that read Madeira Airport wind monitoring, I would. I can assure you. Yes, so this is nicely connected. It's almost as if the show was planned this morning with thunderstorms, wind, and flying velocities of unladen swallows. Unladen swallow, so not carrying a brick hod on a building site, or it's shopping from Intermarché. And an empty belly, perhaps, without the half ton of mosquitoes that I think they are able to gather. Actually, not effectively enough for our liking, just recently around here. But do you mean, thank you very much, Mrs. M. Lovely cup of coffee there in my Good Morning Portugal mug. Is that a swallow that, or is this a joke that's being worked upon me, T-Duck, I wonder? Okay, hola, bon dia, todos from Capricorn 12. That'll be Chris, of course. Morning to you, Chris. That camera of yours, I am thinking of getting a vlogging camera, Chris. And you came up in a conversation I was having. It might have been with T-Duck about such kit. Did you consider, sorry to get a bit nerdy on the vlogging and the YouTubing now, but did you consider a DJI Osmo Pocket 3? I know that's very specialist for a program that is your cheerful start to the day and your cheerful introduction to Portugal. But while you're there, Chris, did you consider that, the DJI Pocket 3? Why it's called an Osmo, I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, it's the sugar, Carl. It is, isn't it? A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips and neck. Is that what you're saying, Bob? Good morning. Africa. Oh, yeah, this is important. Going back to the question, what is the average flying velocity of an unladen swallow? Is it African or European? We need to know, T-Duck. African or European? Yes. Michael's keen to know the distinction there. Aren't swallows usually unladen? You never know. Oh, I see. The real Carl. Yeah, I've been busted. The real Carl would know the answer. Well, that didn't take long, did it? Okay, we're never going to find out how fast an unladen, because I honestly don't know. This AI version of Carl does not know. Aren't swallows usually unladen? I don't even know what a laden swallow would be. I think I've explained that, John. Either carrying its shopping bag from Intermarché or a brick hod from a building site. What's your name, Carl? What's your favorite color? Blue. What is the average flying speed of a laden swallow? Oh, no, that's not right. Yeah, busted. Okay, guilty as charged. This is AI, Carl. That'll be CAIRL for you this morning while Carl is out walking the dog. Looking good. Might need to follow. Are you thinking of that as well? Frank, your beard, you're a handsome fella and your beard really suits you. But you're thinking too, are you, of shaving off the face furniture, the face fungus? Let us know how that goes. And are you leaving it there? I have been encouraged this morning, Frank, to assault other parts of my body hair. Frank, is that just a razor too far for you? Faro Airport getting some pain in its inability to cope with arriving and departing tourists, major delays. Well, so it says Monty Python question as well. Oh, come on, T-Duck. You know when you ask me Monty Python questions, I don't often know the answer. Your knowledge of Monty Python is far greater than mine. I kind of grew up with it, and it was in the atmosphere around me. And I know some of the, he's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. I know some of the blessed are the cheesemakers. I know a few of the notable lines, but I didn't watch it religiously. or irreligiously, as I guess you would, Monty Python. And I don't know it line by line like some of you do. It would appear. Maybe I do need to revisit that. Maybe I do. Maybe I need actually, yes, maybe that will be a useful bit of morning consumption, media consumption, because I want to talk to you about this. The morning routine, particularly the mental morning routine, and how we start the day. This links actually to Wednesday, so I'll come back to that when I talk to or when I share with you what we're doing tomorrow and Wednesday. Still don't get it. Maybe maybe that's not the real John either. If you were the real Joao Ernesto, you would know the flying speed of an unladen European swallow. What's on the telly? It's a duck. What's happened this morning? Please help somebody. Right. Okay. Let's get back to the agenda, such as it is. Oh yeah. We're going to have a look at the weather, weren't we? Weird weather, I would say. I'm not going to complain about it. I was going to say, just stating the fact. Is it a fact that it's weird weather? I think so. All right. Let me put it this way. It's not very constant or persistent of any kind. And by that, I mean, of course, we are not getting many sunny days back to back, are we? Portugal weather with Dynasty Homes right now. Let's have a look then at what's happening this week and what's happening today, of course. This is interesting, isn't it? So 34 degrees, that will be 93 in Lisbon, in the capital at the moment. And it won't be long before T-Duck or someone else in Lisbon says, there's no way it's that. Where are you getting this information from? But there you go. It's the age we live in, isn't it? Where we're struggling to trust information and we can barely believe anything that's not within our own experience. So anyway, here we go. 34 degrees of the centigrade, 93 of the Fahrenheit, and it's a rainy day. It would look like in moderate rain. They're describing it here on my weather source. And then we're promised tomorrow 6 straight days of sunshine. However, it's going to go from 34 today, a muggy 34 in the capital with rain. So that's going to be a humid, rainy day in the capital, to which I am traveling later this afternoon. And then 27, 30, 28, 26, 29, and 28 for the rest of the week. So highs of 86 coming up in the capital. Porto, not a similar picture, although there are some sunny days forecast for next weekend. At a mere 21 degrees, however, it's going to be 26 today in Porto, in the sibling city of Porto. 26 the high today with some of that moderate rain. Oh, light rain in Porto. In Coimbra, 38. Close. Humid at 38 and 36 tomorrow with some light rain and light rain today as well. Hey, does shaving make your nose run? 32. Mrs. M, I might need a little bit of kitchen roll from in there in a minute. 30, or I might just have to hide behind the microphone here. So not to embarrass myself with a runny nose. 30, maybe it's the cloud cover is boosting the pollen. This is weird. 32 degrees of sun on Wednesday, and then back to a bit of cloudiness on Thursday and Friday, and then a sunny weekend. Now, as I scroll down the rest of Portugal, we do have a sunny weekend coming, don't we? 35 in Braga next Saturday. But strange. I mean, here we are, the 29th of July. We're nearly into August. And the 300 days of sunshine, I'm almost completely done with saying that, are absent, aren't they? These the long summery summer. We can expect rain in April, can't we? En Abril, aguas mil. She heard me. She heard my call. Oh, thank you very much. Who's that chap on the screen there? 35 in Castelo Branco today. Nice and warm, muggy, but rainy and cloudy. And then look, the likes of you, Pete, Matty, and our other friends over in Castelo Branco, 39 by Saturday. So way up in the 30s in Castelo Branco for the rest of this week. But not, I mean, is it my bad memory? Or this time last year, the year before, we were just seeing sun all the way, and it was such a joy to look at this weather map or this weather forecast. But no, so much rain and so much cloud and weird just fluctuations in the weather. Let me know what you think about that then. Let's relax for a moment and head to Spain. Birthday greetings to come, Portugal quiz to come. We may be talking to the person, I don't even know their name, from the German food with a Portuguese twist concession in Porto. We'll come back to your many comments this morning. So let's have a little bit of a relax. 35 for Pontelima today. Real hot up there in a way that it looks like they're not quite expecting. Let's roll VT then as we pop across to a cool Spain. A minute and a half, 90 seconds of Spain now. And I'll tell you more about John and Pam's trip, as I'm sure John will in the chat as well. Beautiful excursion. One of the wonderful things you can do if you live in Spain, just pop across the border. If you live in Portugal, I beg your pardon, and just pop across the border into Spain like John and Pam did. Your lady.
Picos de Europa National Park in Galicia, Spain.
Somewhere in Spain there. Now I'm looking at John's notes here, and that's a 6-hour drive from Pontelima. So you're well into Spain by that point. How long to get to the border was that, John? And how much of that journey is actually inside Spain? So 6-hour excursion, and we'll show you a few more pictures here, and we'll see if our worst case scenario, if that's going to happen, or we're actually going to have our German sausage friend join. That's probably not the best way to refer to someone, is it, as a German sausage friend? But you get the picture. Talking of pictures, here we go. We are staying in the little village of Fuente Day. Is that the Fire of God? A village called the Fire of God. That looks like a lovely room there. Yeah, John says our room has an okay view. That is absolutely beautiful. A Spanish version of the Dolomites, says John here. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? 6-hour drive out of Portugal into Spain there, and you can see a landscape like that, which John likened to Colorado, in actual fact. And I suspect you might agree with that, Bob, as well, as a fellow Coloradan. Is that what you could? Have we ever got to the bottom of this? Coloradian. Yeah, there you go. There's the picture. John saying, yes, it is like Colorado up here. And hiking through the hills there. Fantastic. Morning to you, Pam, as well. I'm flipping back and forth between the notes here. And a longer shot there of the mountains there in that part of Spain. And on the last day, is this the right one? No, this is the right one. On the last day, no, that was the right one. Where are we? Anyway, our last day was spent exploring the heart of the Picos de Europa at a little village named Cain. Just wow, says John. Well, I have to agree with you. Just wow. Absolutely beautiful part of the world. The Picos, then, of Europa, Picos de Europa in Spain. There. Thank you very much for that, John. Another one of your excellent excursions. And I heard some gentlemen drove or rode over that way on their bicycles, chatting to Bob as well last week. That does look like great country for motorbiking as well, doesn't it? That last picture sharing with you there, that's Potes, P-O-T-E-S, where you had a lovely chalet B&B there. It just looks so alpine and beautiful, doesn't it? It's something about alpine architecture. You see that in the Pinar de Gerês as well. So thank you very much. It looks like we are facing the worst case scenario, and our sausagey friend from Porto is not joining us. Go see for yourself. Fresh cut, double fried, extra crispy French fries from the French fries factory. And when served, it looks a little bit like this, which I really could eat that right now. German food with a Portuguese twist. And what caught my eye was how they were giving away a free beer. And I don't know if you have to mention Good Morning Portugal or even if that offer is still on. But they were giving away a free beer. And that looks like a great meal to me when you're watching the football or just sat by the river in Porto. Some sausage with some chips and gravy as well. Stop it. I'm torturing myself speaking like this on the Good Morning Portugal show. Let's come back to your comments. Oh, before we do, I would like to wish a very happy birthday to Anna, our Swede in Portugal, who's not in Portugal at the moment, but good morning to you, Anna, over there in Stockholm, I believe, and Julie Marsh of the wonderful Marsh, Familia Marsh, over there in Fundal. A very happy birthday to you, Julie. I hope you're having a nice, crisp, cold glass of your favorite Matthias Rosé, which I know you like and enjoy. Happy birthday to you both. Any other birthdays or indeed anniversaries I should know about? Very happy anniversary yesterday to Terence and Ginny Austin. So very happy anniversary to you. Always want to ask people who've been married for a long time, what's your secret? But they're pretty busy enjoying themselves and don't want to be quizzed in that way. But it's the day after, so it's fine. What is your secret? The Austins of your long and happy marriage. Lubricating stuff, that's not connected with the secrets of a happy marriage, the lubricating stuff, although it might be. That's an earlier comment, thanks to João Ernesto. And where did we get to? We got to Algarve and Faro Airport, didn't we? And the trouble there. Chris, I think, commenting on that too. And I think also cute deluge of Monty Python. Yeah, here we go. Come back here, you coward. Yes, okay. Yes, I did, but I opted for the Insta 360 times 2. You got 2 of them, or is that what it's called? The X2. Oh, then upgraded to the X3 due to the fact that they capture everything. I'm sure in a year or so I will upgrade to the X5. Do pop in your YouTube channel so we can see the fruits of that product there, if you don't mind, Chris. So you did consider the DJI Osmo 3 or whatever it's called. How can you tell if she's okay? These are all the Monty Python comments now, aren't they? It's just the bunny. It's just a flesh wound. Run away, run away. Oh, come on now. This is so difficult now on the screen. Thank you very much, T-Duck, for starting that. Faro Airport flying out last week. I was amazed to see how the Brits love to queue. If you want to win a war, put a sign up saying queue here. Oh, come on, Chris. No. What's on the telly? What's on the telly? It's a duck. T-Duck? Nope. Don't get it. Bom dia, Chris, from Antonio F, who's also this morning. Good morning to you, Antonio. We'll be able to look at your Portuguese sayings of the day. Once the number 3, being the third number, be reached, then lobbest thou thy holy hand grenade of Antioch towards thy foe, who, being naughty in my sight, shall snuff it. 35, and we need rain. Look, rain apologists. Is that what we could call people now? Who always say that, including you, Bob, this morning. Rain apologists. No, we've had enough rain, Bob. Come on. It's actually 233 and a third days of sunshine in Portugal. It's true. Saw it on Facebook. We'll get round to that. Wenn ist das Nünstück geht und Schlottermeier? Ja, bei Hund das Öde die Flapperwald gespurt. Look, I'm going to have to ban Monty Python comments and that's probably a red rag to a bull, isn't it? I shouldn't have said that. I'm not as up to speed as my Monty Python trivia. You have to know these things when you're amongst all you Brits. I think he's, do you see what he did there? I think he worked in a Monty Python quote right there, did he? You look like a 16-year-old, according to Minnie. Well, thanks, Minnie. That's approval from the daughter there. That last pick isn't Kane. The Kane pick is Kane is more dramatic. Oh, John, okay. I got mixed up with pictures there. This is Kane. Which sounds suddenly like an episode of, was it called Kung Fu? My name is Kane. But however, this is Kane. And I shall bring that to the screen for you now because it is very beautiful. Thank you very much, John, for this one as well. although I've downloaded it and already lost it, which some say I lost years ago. Here we go. Here's the picture of Cain, C-A-I-N. That is the right picture now, isn't it? That is dramatic, isn't it? Let me just take off your comment to reveal the full glory there. Very special and very reminiscent, I have to say, of the Peneda Girash. In scale, John, how much grander and bigger is that than the hillsides, the mountains you see in the Peneda Girash? You Brits being T-Duck and myself. Yeah, absolutely. Honorary Brit T-Duck, certainly with his Monty Python knowledge. Is that fairy dust over the chips? Let's have a quick look and come back to the chips. Just another excuse to show this. Yes, it is. That is, and that's what happens when you order that in Porto. You get that sound each time, the fairy dust. Oh, please, Mrs. M, we need to organise breakfast straight after the show. Having shown myself that picture 3 times. Have you finished now? This isn't a Monty Python quote, is it? I misspoke on the vid and said it was in Galicia. Actually, no, this is not. No one expects the Spanish excursion. Actually, the Picos de Europa crosses the borders of 3 provinces, the Cantabrian, Asturian, and Castile-Leon provinces. Okay, so it was good. Okay, so the video is in Galicia, not the Picos de Europa, but we're in the right sort of ballpark, I believe there. Yeah, João Ernesto's excellent excursions, including the Spanish excursion right there. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, John. And Antonio F. Urging us to hit that like button. So let's then have a look at the Portugal quiz today. And I think you've had a vote on this, Antonio F., as well as contributing yet another. There is no end. There really is no end to the Portuguese sayings of the day. Let's have a look at the most recent one. This was a tradition that was started by T-Duck, who are there more Portuguese sayings than there are Monty Python quotes, I wonder. But here you go. As you can see on the screen there, back in March of 23, T-Duck was sending me a Portuguese saying of the day. And the first, or one of the early ones, was mais vale tarde do que nunca. Better late than never, which Raquel appreciated, saying, oh, Carl, don't get me started. I live by our sayings, life lessons right there. Great way to learn Portuguese, as we always said at the time. And you get a bit of vocabulary, but you also get an insight into the Portuguese psyche. Scrolling forward, luckily there's a button that brings us up to the latest. And the last couple have been em setembro, lavra, semia e colha que é mês para tudo. In September, plow, sow and harvest. It's a month for everything. Not there quite yet, but nice to know what will be happening. And hopefully better weather for the farmers. Even the farmers are saying we've had enough rain now, aren't they, Bob? And the latest Portuguese saying of the day here, and I'll put the link to them for you. 400 comments plus here on the Portugal Club sayings of the day. Thanks largely to T-Duck for starting it off, and Antonio F, who picked up that baton and run with it. Em sua casa, cada é rei. Everyone is king in his own home there. And fantastic gifts to go with each of the submissions there. Oh, Mr. Bean for us right there. So thank you very much. Much appreciated your efforts there. And we'll stay with the Portugal Club after I've put the link to the Portuguese sayings for you right there. We'll stay with the Portugal Club and go to the Portugal quiz of the day, thanks to Aviva. That will be the Learn About Portugal quiz, Sunday, the 28th of July, when I posted it yesterday. Are you seeing that on the screen? Yes, you are. And it's a picture quiz, so you'll need this. Take a look for a moment if you are flossing, trimming your toenails or doing something and just listening and not looking at the screen. You might like to look at the screen now. Here is your picture clue. And it's 3 bags of trash, garbage, rubbish, or lixo, as we say here in Portugal. But what are they? Okay, is it option 1, a curbside deposit for Coimbra's new municipal composting scheme? They are a form, this is option 2, they are a form of street carpeting, specifically at Caniço in Madeira for the Blessed Sacrament Festival. Or finally, option 3, they're bags that contain organic confetti that was swept up after the communal wedding ceremony, the Casamentos de Santo Antonio, at this year's Marchas Populares in the capital in Lisbon. So was it is it option 1, curbside deposit for the new municipal composting scheme in Coimbra, Street carpeting, those beautiful mandala-like street carpets in Madeira, in this instance, for the Blessed Sacrament Festival, or were they organic confetti, which is probably a better way of doing it, isn't it, than I was hoovering it's a long story, but I was hoovering at a swimming pool yesterday and was having to hoover the bottom of the pool for quite a few plastic discs, shiny plastic discs. Those things never biodegrade, do they, and block up every single thing, drains, swimming pools, and all of that. So much better to have some organic confetti like this. So well done. If you've had a guess over at the Portugal quiz, for which I will put the link into the chat right now. And yes, there you go. We've got James with his contribution to the Portuguese saying there, vai pintar macacos there. I think that is go play with the monkeys, isn't it? If you're fed up with someone. And vai ver se o mar tem água. What is that? I'm not sure. What's that? Go see the sea. If you want some water, that's a complete. Oh, always. Okay, so go to the sea. All ways of saying taking a hike. Talking of taking a hike and such turns of phrase, I've got another meme I want to show you. So John was in the Picos. I just misattributed which province I was in. The Picos de Europa is significantly higher and more dramatic than the Gerês, more alpine and always snow covered in winter. Thank you for that clarification there, John. That's brilliant. Okay, that's our Portugal quiz. That's our Portugal saying of the day. I want to let you know what's happening. I want to tell you a story. Right, what's happening? Oh, I haven't put the slides in for this. Let me just add those to my bulging picture deck right now. We'll have a look at these couple of stories that I think are quite funny and interesting. Wind monitoring, as well as the number of children has grown here in Portugal. And there's another meme I might bring to the screen for you. Somebody posted up how they were just wanted. Sometimes I just want to run away to Italy sometimes I just want to take my $5 and run away to Italy. I have converted that into a Portuguese version of that, which is sometimes I just want to take my €4.30 plus IVA and run away to Portugal. There you go. Lots of information, incidentally, about moving to Portugal at goodmorningportugal.com. So if you have friends who want to follow in your footsteps and they don't know where to start, you can point them towards goodmorningportugal.com and we'll do our utmost best to help them. Right, what's happening tomorrow? I hear you ask. Thank you. Live from Herdad de Meia tomorrow, going to be in the company of Bobby O'Reilly. And I think we've got Carl Hyde popping in because he lives up the road from there. Sarah Davey also coming across the river to come and see us. And Bob will lay on a few refreshments tomorrow as well. If you let me know you're coming, we can cater for you as well. And we can have a Portuguese breakfast, maybe a little croissant or something like that, or a pastel de nata. Come join us. I'll be broadcasting live from Herdad de Meia at around 9. I say at around 9, just to give myself a little bit of leeway. But obviously, we'll be taking the broadcast kit on the coach to Lisbon this afternoon and heading to Herdad de Meia, the Marginal Sul, south of the river there. And it's going to be my great pleasure to cross the river. I think what I'm going to do this afternoon is head there by train on the Fartagos. And it's been a long time. I often talk about how much I love catching the train across the river. I'm going to do that later on this afternoon and maybe capture a bit of video footage as I go, with a Cristo Rey in the distance across the 25 de Abril bridge, looking at the Tagus below. So really looking forward to that. I'm broadcasting from the Herdad de Meia site. This is the most recent film I have of the site. Trying to sum it up in 15 minutes. We'll breathe out and take a longer, deeper look, and maybe take some footage of other developments on the site. Andy Klein also joining me. This is just the most recent 15 seconds of it. Look at that skyline. Well done, Dynasty Homes, who we associated with the weather earlier on. They might not want that association with how weird the weather's going. But Dynasty Homes, the group, Bobby's group behind the development at Herdad de Meia, and we are delighted to be broadcasting from there tomorrow. And then 5th Monday, 5th Wednesday, this 5th Tuesday tomorrow live from Head of the Mayor. We will be doing this on Wednesday, and I do it with some hesitation. And I've been going through all sorts of thought processes with this. Should expat politics matter? And our little cockerel of Barcelos doesn't like it when the foreigners argue about politics. And I've been thinking long and hard about this. Who doesn't know? So I'll speak for myself. And I am far too interested in what's going on in America and in the UK, my native UK, for my liking. And I think I give too much mental space. It is living rent-free in my mind. And it takes me to places mentally that I don't want to go. And I'm also finding it quite a hard habit to give up. So I'm asking that question. I'm also writing about it in the Portugal Resident this week. And I started off writing it, and I was making some cheap jokes about both American and British politics, being quite sneery about it all. And really, isn't it best that when we leave the country, I mean, we left there for a reason, didn't we? That we minimize our exposure to what's going on back home. Certainly I think that's probably the direction of my travel. As soon as I can kick the habit of wanting to look at X and see what's going on, before I know it, I've scrolled for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'm finding out all sorts of things I didn't want to know. And what I find most frustrating just recently is there's two things. There's two things I want to say about this before I move on, and we'll pick it up on Wednesday. But the first is how do we get information that can be trusted? Like I said earlier on, are we moving into a time where the only thing we can really believe are the things that we experience with our own senses? Because what I'm discovering is that there is news from both sides of the political agenda that presents itself as truth, and it's completely and diametrically opposed to the other view. And it's stated as a fact. So how do you find out which are the facts? And you know, I meet people in much the same condition. I'll meet one group of people with a political persuasion, and they'll say, well, this is how it is, of course. And then I'll meet other people who say, well, this is how it is, of course. And they are saying, and they say it, and I've no reason to doubt them. And I like them. I'm not that has anything to do with it particularly, but, you know, I like and trust people who both say things that are diametrically opposed to each other. Is that where we are with politics? And certainly is that where we are as foreigners and expats with an interest in the politics of our native countries, where we just can't find out what's really going on, and it's just coming down to emotional knee-jerk reactions, and that can't be a good thing. We're seeing what's happening, aren't we? If it all just comes down to emotional knee-jerk reactions and triggering and culture wars and stuff like that. And I'm feeling like I want to be less and less a part of it. And it's so easy to be a certain kind of person with this stuff in and on social media, and then real life is a different thing. And I bumped into someone last night who I know I have very different political views to, and I could feel, and I had this sense as I met them in the street yesterday. I know we have different political views. I can feel it when I'm posting up things, and I see the things you post up, and I thought, I'm just not comfortable with this. I don't want to feel like this. And I stood with this person in the street, and I had a lovely chat with them about their life and about how they were enjoying life in our town here. And that's the experience I want. I don't want to escalate and invest in and I can do it very easily. There's no question. You know, it's a rich theme of comedy, let's face it, as well, and of being right and utter disgust and all sorts of things. You can find it all, can't you, in the political landscape at the moment. And I was just so taken by what that had created in myself in relation to another human being. And I just felt really uncomfortable, and I didn't want to feel like that. And I know how that space was created, and I just don't want to invest it anymore. So that will be the tone and context and perspective and angle on how, and I know it's a bit clickbaity, an apocalyptic background that we are escaping from, and then we can't let it go once we've got here. We came here for a reason, like I said. How much do we hold on to the politics of our native countries? Do we need to know, or are we just getting a trigger, an emotional hit, a chance to be right and make others wrong when we could be free? Or, another way of putting it, and I absolutely love this sentiment from the Dalai Lama, and I posted this up. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to live. Don't let the behaviors of others destroy your inner peace. Can we make inner peace our prime motive? That's this week's Portugal resident piece. And how can I overlap that with my addiction, with my interest in global politics? And how can we manage that? That's what I want to talk about. I don't want to have a political debate on Wednesday. I really want to answer that question. How can we maintain our inner peace? I think essentially that's what we're here for here in Portugal, this particular community. We haven't come here to have a bad time. We haven't come here to be grumpy and angry. Some of us have moved away from a culture which we fear might be like that and might continue to be like that. We've moved for our own well-being and to contribute to a society that I think has a pretty good angle and handle on politics here in Portugal. No Portuguese person has ever cancelled me. It's just it's kind of like a joke when you talk about politics. I know people take it seriously, and in some ways, of course, it's a serious matter how a country, how a state, how a government is run. But it's all about perspective as well. And I find the Portuguese angle on that really healthy. There are other priorities before that. It's put into perspective. It's kept in perspective. There are far more important things. And we see, do we not, from our native cultures, that it's becoming quite consuming and quite undermining and perhaps occupying a space far bigger than it deserves in our minds and in our public spaces and in our discourse and in our relationships with each other. So that'll be the question. Should expat politics matter? And I'd have written it differently if I realized how difficult it would be to say. How do we get a perspective? How do we get an angle on that? And from the point of keeping our peace, keeping the peace, we have come to a country that is 7th in the Global Peace Index, and I'm sure part of that is an unwillingness to become triggered and upset about every political message that is seen. There's a kind of healthy disregard and a healthy mocking of politicians in this country, which I really like. And I don't want that. I mean, it probably will change, but I don't want to be part of changing that. I would like to honor and respect the relationship that Portuguese people and Portuguese culture seems to have towards its politicians and government, and how it places a far greater emphasis on other things. I saw a man's tattoo. It's short sleeve time here in San Martino de Porto, despite when it gets cold and rains here in this weird summer. But it said, amor de país, love of country. And it's so interesting, isn't it, how in some of our native countries, that would be seen as a sort of a basic patriotism that you might look down on, and that's happening in the UK. Patriot is even the word patriot is a charged word now. Whereas here in Portugal, loving your country is a kind of okay thing to do. And I admire it and I really like it. And I just think to myself, I'm not sure I would have a tattoo in UK, love of country. It's come to mean something different in the UK. So we'll talk about that and similar things on Wednesday. So I'm giving you fair warning if you're going to get triggered. It's a trigger alert as well. If that's going to upset you, you might not want to be joining us for that 5th Wednesday special, but you might want to come along and contribute and help keep the peace. I can't believe it's 1 minute to 10. Have I covered everything this morning that I intended to? Is the world getting crazier? We didn't go there. Maybe that's a good thing. Your mental morning routine. I hope I've been part of it this morning. This has been a cheerful start to the day. This has been a cheerful start to the week. And this remains your cheerful introduction to life and living a happy life in Portugal. Okay, let's finish with a few of your comments here this morning. No politics. Okay, fair enough. I get your drift there. Thanks very much. Go see if the sea has water is your translation. That's brilliant. Portugal wins. I love all these ways of saying go and bother someone else or buzz off, especially when politics is mentioned. Okay, you might need that on Wednesday. From Pondalima, it's just over 6 hours to Porch in the Picos. Oh, that's lovely. That's a chapter in the biography, isn't it? Porch in the Picos. It is halfway to the Pyrenees, which is another 6 hours from Porto Very grateful thanks to you, John, for all your work on that one. Polly, many ticks, blood-sucking insects. T-Duck's not a fan, politics. It's an addiction to brain chemistry, stirring up all kinds of exciting emotions. You're right, absolutely guilty as charged. Please help. It's the stuff of social media, all this emotional addiction. Thank you, James, you're right. Great noticing. I'm going to choose an act, you know I am. So many expats in Portugal move to live in a bubble that excludes interest in the old homeland. I'm not sure if you're putting that as a good or a bad thing there, Dougie, but I suspect you might want to join us on Wednesday. You might even want to be on the screen and chat to us about that. Now, what do you choose? I know, James, thank you for that reminder and that time out there. One of the great difficulties with discussing politics, it is so much embedded in one's philosophical framework and worldview. Many are not very self-aware of why they believe what they do. Well said, I think, John, there. How can I be peace? That will be an overwhelming question for Wednesday's discussion. Behaviors and opinions of others. We're addicted to that as well, are we? No matter where you live, you can't escape the consequences of global politics. I think that's a fair comment, Dougie. Good morning to you, by the way. However, I think we can, as we've talked with James about this, we can limit the amount of exposure we have and our addiction to scrolling as some of us think we are assessing the periphery in our fight or flight readiness. You know, what do I need to know about? We probably overwhelm ourselves with information. Peace begins with me. Peace begins with me. We'll remember that Wednesday as well. A duck floats in water. If the woman weighs the same as a duck and she's made of wood, if the woman weighs the same as a duck, and then therefore the woman is a witch. Thank you for sorting that out for us as well this morning. More Monty Python, I think there. I agree that politics occupy too much space in our minds. This is blamable on social media. Well, actually, I would say, Doug, it's blamable on myself. It's me that does it. I don't have to indulge that fascination. I don't blame social media for anything, apart from my relationship with Mrs. M, for which I'm very grateful. But I chose to be on social media and send her unsolicited messages on Facebook. It's down to us in the end, Doug. You can't keep blaming other things. How to stay upset and never enjoy your life. Book title. Yes! Amor de Paz, love to the country. Amor aos pais, love for the parents. Accents, Carl. Accents. Thank you very much, Antonio. Amor ao pais, I beg your pardon, and Amor aos pais. I loved that man's tattoo, and I think it was the former, or was it the latter? Both are great, are they not? And what a lovely moment to end on there. Apart from, do you feel old when you see something like this? Because I suddenly thought, when I saw this meme, and it's thoroughly appropriate right now, old people's slang for it's time to go include these. Let's rock and roll. I say that. Let's skedaddle. I don't say that so much. Saddle up, partners. Let's get the heck out of Dodge. I'm sure I've got friends here who've said that. Time to hit the road. I say that one. Let's blow this popsicle stand. I've never said that or heard it. And I don't know what it really means apart from let's go. Let's hightail it out of here. Let's get this show on the road. I definitely say that. But what I didn't realize was how that kind of aged me, and possibly why some younger people, I mean, fair enough. If you say to a young person, let's blow this popsicle stand, you deserve a strange look. But let's rock and roll. I didn't realize how much of an old fart that might make me sound. But anyway, I'll say it to you now. Let's rock and roll. Let's skedaddle. Saddle up, partners. Let's get the heck out of Dodge. Time to hit the road. Let's blow this popsicle stand. Let's hightail it out of here. Let's get this show on the road. And I will see you tomorrow morning live from Herdad de Mayo. Give yourself a nice round of applause. You made it into another week. Let's have a good one. Take care and bye for now. Thanks for being with me this morning.
Bom dia, Portugal. In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity. on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.